Good evening, everybody, and assalamu alaikum to all our brothers and sisters in Islam. My name is Well, that's a new one for me. Good evening, everybody. This is Asiya Nasir Shahid. I am the CEO and founder of Jessica Cares and your talk show host of Conversations with Asiya. Welcome to a very special episode that we're having tonight. We have some dynamic women that we're going to be speaking to, and this goes right into our mission and the vision that we had for this talk show, which is educating and empowering the women of our community and the girls that they are raising. So I would love to welcome now our special guest for our very special episode honoring Black History Month, the African American women who have fulfilled the dream. So our first guest that I would like to introduce is Walida Muhammad, the CEO of Be Fly Money. Welcome, Walida.
How are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. How are you doing this evening?
Good. I'm doing good.
Great. And next we have our next special guest, which is Suleha Turner, CEO of Essential Nutrients Hair Care.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So happy to be here.
Welcome. Thank you for accepting being on the show. Next we have community activist Sharia Schultz, CEO of Buddy Speak.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of this amazing platform. I'm so excited and looking forward to the conversation.
So am I. Thank you for accepting. And last but definitely not least, we have Dr. Khadija Ismail, who is also a dentist and CEO and founder of not one but two nonprofit organizations, Miss Hijabi USA and Women of Wellness of New Jersey.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Jazakallah khairan. Thank you for allowing me to be here on this show with some amazing women that I'm honored to share the platform with.
Thank you and welcome. And welcome to our show. So we're going to get right into it because there's so much. And we have the comment section. So if you have any questions or comments for any of the dynamic women that you see here on the show, please feel free to put your comments or questions for them, and we'll definitely go ahead and post it so that way we can answer your questions. These women come from a variety of different genres of work, and some of the work that they're doing is so different than what we're accustomed to in the Black and Brown community. And that's why I wanted to feature them on Black History Month and celebrating that, because they have fulfilled the dream. Some of the work that they do is work that we're not used to, as I mentioned, not used to seeing. And so we're going to interview each of them, hear their story, their journey, and some of them you'll be surprised at how they got to where they're doing and how the work that they're doing impacts you and your children and those that you care about in our communities. So first we're going to start with Miss Walida Muhammad. As I mentioned, she is the CEO of Be Fly Money, and she is a certified accountant dealing in the field of money. And we see a lot of entrepreneurs in our community, in the Black and Brown community. But sometimes what tends to happen is that the understanding of money, finances, IRS, things that can really be a detriment to someone's business is not common knowledge, And so I would love for you to first speak on your journey of becoming an accountant, because I think your journey in becoming one is very unique, and I think it would be very inspirational to mothers that are listening on the show. So Walida, tell us about your journey in becoming an accountant. What made you choose that profession?
So this happened like years and years ago when I was in high school. I just was very intrigued about economics, finance, just how money, how your parents say money doesn't grow on trees. But I was one of those kids that, I didn't fit in or just go along with people say. I'm like, well, money grows on trees. We just got to find out how it grows. I was one of those kids that stood out. And so my grandmother, she started to tell me about our family. When she said, she should hear me all the time talk about this, thing about money growing on trees and all that. She said, let me sit down and tell you about this. He was like, you're right. Money does grow on trees. You just got to find out how, you have to find out where you fit in and how you can make it grow, right? So she started telling me about my family. My family, I come from I wouldn't say it's a well-to-do family, but I'll say that it was a lot of professionals. My great-grandmother was one of the first Black women in South Carolina to actually attend one of the first colleges. And they're all teachers and, and then insurance and all that. So she's telling me about all this. She never told me, I'm going to fast forward a little bit because she never told me later on in life, she never told me she was an accountant too. So she was doing accounting work too. So I was like, wow, this is really strange. So anyways, I said to her, well, I'm going to school, Grandma, to be, at the time they call it bean counters, right? So I'm going to school to be a bean counter. She's like, well, that's good, but I think you're going to be a teacher. I was like, no, I want to go count. I want to count money. She was like, no, you're going to be a teacher. So went to school. In high school, I was graduated at the top of my class. I took like courses that were not the norm, going through the mainstream. I really wanted to dig deep into finances and business. It just intrigued me. So then I was running track and field, and I was doing pretty good at it. And so that was kind of my ticket into college because I was doing really good in track and field. And so I got that full ride up into college.
Wow.
And I went to, the first college I went to was SCSU in New Haven, Connecticut. Southern Connecticut State University. And when I went to the campus, I was with the early crew. Like I didn't go when the other students started during the semester. I went the summertime. So I sacrificed my summer as a teenager, I'm going to go here and because they had some accelerated courses. So I'm going to go and I need to get my feet wet into this thing. So I go there and then I start getting a little scared, because it was really going down, And so I started to meet people along the way that really encouraged me to stay focused. It was really difficult for me, especially because I was dealing with, I was a teen mom, and it was not by choice. So what happened to me, it actually weighed a lot on me and what I wanted to do. The reason why I wanted to be so firmly footed into achieving this goal, one was because I didn't want to fit in anybody's box. Statistics say, I was a molested child and I had a child out of it at 12 years old. And I didn't want to be what anyone thought I should be. That was just me. That was my whole mindset. I'm not going to be what they want me to be. I'm going to do this and I'm going to make a lot of money at it. And I'm going to help a lot of people. That's all I kept thinking. And so fast forward a little bit with that story was that as SCSU, I get on the phone, on the radio, and Hot 97 is one of the biggest, radio stations in New York. So I'm hearing Angie Martinez and all of come to LIU because we got, you're going to get some nice, some nice benefits and all that. And I'm like, LIU, but I left New York because I wanted to come out here and want to do this. But I was like, I'm going to go do it. So my mother didn't know anything about it. I transferred back to New York. She didn't even know I was there. I was on the dorms and everything.
Wow.
But she had to know eventually because she had to come sign, some dotted lines. But she was like, well, how'd you do this? And I was like, well, I got to come back here because what happened was they had a program. The reason why I went there because they had a program that would allow me to get my bachelor's and my master's. So I was like, well, I'm going to do this because I want the whole thing. I'm not that kind of person to step by step. I want the whole thing. So I went there. And then from there, 2 years into that, now I'm at my fourth year, about to graduate, about to be done. Mm-hmm. And I met a young man and had started a family. And for some reason, every time I tried to go back, it didn't work for me. It would not work. I'm telling y'all, I tried everything. I mean, baby at the hip, baby on nursing. I was trying. I was doing,
You was trying to do
somewhere along the line, I got lost and very discouraged. Began to have low self-esteem, and a lot of things happened in between the whole process. So moving fast forward to today. Just last year, I finished up, it was 18 years ago, but I finished up my accounting degree. and I got my bachelor's at, and I felt like that was such an accomplishment because yes, I wanted to do it,
Yeah.
but then I knew there were people out there. This is one thing I could tell you. I knew that there were women out there who are business owners, and even just your personal finances too. There are women out there who need this, and there are women out there who just want to be able to look at, to find someone who looks like them. So not so
Right.
much the hijab, but even the our people, they want to see more of that, and not have to
Mm-hmm.
feel like, yeah, you have to go somewhere else to get that. So that's my journey. I graduated during quarantine time, so I didn't get to walk across the stage, but I was like, you know what, I still did it. So
That's right. That's right. You still got the degree. You still got the certification, and that's
yes.
what I wanted to share. What I want you to share with the audience. I mean, you kind of make light of it. You're like, I started a family. When you actually got your degree, Walida, how many children do you have?
Okay, so I'm a mother of 7 children. They all don't reside in the same house with me, two, but in the middle of it all, this is when they started break off because I did have a whole 6 in the house at one time when I started. And then 2 went away to their father, and then, just like the old 3 older ones that kind of doing their things. So I was trying to manage getting these kids through high school,
Mm-hmm.
and finish school because kids, it's hard,
Oh,
my daughter,
absolutely.
she's on her changes, like it was a lot, and I have a little one because I decided
Mm-hmm.
to have a child at 40. Yes. So I don't know where that came from, but yeah, so I got this little guy running around,
Mm-hmm.
and nights trying to study was very difficult, because he
Yeah.
wants to be next to me, underneath me,
Mm-hmm.
and I also used to wake up so early in the morning just so that I could get things done. I mean,
Right.
staying on the computer was like the laptop was like, so the bed to the laptop, bed to the laptop. And I
Mm-hmm.
did what I had to do. And I will say to you that it's about perseverance and self-discipline. I don't care what's going on. Yes, I have a family, but I never made it an excuse. I never made it an excuse. I made it a reason why. And I
Right.
think that's what kept me going. It was a
Mm-hmm.
reason why I needed to finish and I needed to continue on.
Wow. And that's why I had you on the show because I think that your story is so inspirational. I know, for me, I have 3 children, and the journey that I had to take in, being in the corporate world and going to school at the same time, starting my nonprofit, it was challenging. And I only had 3 compared to your 7 and actually going to school and studying at night. If you had a word for mothers right now, whether they're single mothers or with a spouse, and they want to go back to school, but they think having children is a hindrance or an obstacle for them, what would you say to them?
Well, let the being a mother, right, be the reason why you do it.
Right.
Because you're on stage for your kids. Your kids see more, they will do more of what they see you do than what you say.
Hmm.
So I think that was the biggest thing for me. Like now my kids are talking about having their own businesses and all that stuff. So yeah,
Right.
it has worked.
So I want to, and that's beautiful because I think a lot of women think they can't. Oh, well, I started kids. I have to wait until I become an empty nester. And how old was your youngest? That's what I would like to know. When you graduated, how old was your youngest, Walida?
Okay, so my youngest, because now he's 5, but then he was 4. He was 4 when I finished, but he was 2.5 going on 3 when I started. And I can tell you, like, yes, I did go through. I couldn't find a babysitter. I, Let me tell you, I was going through a lot. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was almost homeless because job switching. Your finance had to switch
Hmm.
and all that kind of stuff. Almost homeless. Walking from, I don't know, people know where East Orange to Newark is. I walked
Yes.
from East Orange to downtown
Ooh.
Newark to go to school because I didn't have a car. My car broke down. I had to jump my car. It was, listen, every
Wow.
single obstacle you would think of was like,
It
hey.
happened. It
And I
happened.
just knew that listen, only Allah could make all these things happen at this time and while I'm doing this. So I had to go through to get through. And I'm saying you gotta,
Wow.
you have to make that your why. If it doesn't make you cry, it ain't gonna go down. So
Right.
so yeah, I'm
Yeah,
sorry
I
if I
think that's, oh no, no, this is what I want everyone to hear. So in educating, those that are listening, the mothers and the daughters that they're raising, um, when you're talking about finances, you being in the accounting world, what do you see happening with entrepreneurs especially as it relates to those that look like us?
So what I've been seeing, and it's been a pattern, is that we start businesses. We're so excited. Some of us are so excited to be like, yeah, I want to start this business. And then they get started. But what happens is money is just not, the mindset. I'm not even talking about your actual finances right now. I'm talking about your mindset about money.
Mm-hmm.
Our mindsets are so like just everywhere because we have blueprints in our backgrounds that cause us to feel like we shouldn't, I should say, speak up about what we do, right? What we do, and the value that we add, and charging the prices that we're supposed to charge. And all, we have this stigma on us, like, oh well, I'm your sister, I'm your friend. That we have those things coming at us, and we either come from a background where it's a humble beginning, and we know how it was, so we start feeling like, oh well, I don't want to charge this, or I don't want to do this, or we just don't have that healthy relationship with money. And understand that
And
money
that's
is a tool.
and that's a
Money.
really good point. It's a really good
Okay.
point that you make, Walida, because there's a book that came out, and I'm sure people have heard of it, even if you haven't read it before. But it's called Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that's
Yes.
it's talking about how a lot of us have poor relationships as it relates to money.
Yes.
An unhealthy relationship. And even Will Smith said that when he made his first $1 million, although he had all of this money, because he had a poor relationship with money, he blew it and even ended up owing money to the IRS. And
Yep.
he was like, I owe over $1 million to the IRS. It was and all because he had a poor relationship with money. So he was like, whether you're poor or whether you're rich, if you don't have a good relationship with money, you're gonna have money problems. So Walida,
Yes.
just briefly, I want you to speak to those that are entrepreneurs, those that are aspiring to be entrepreneurs. What would you say they should be paying close attention when it comes to their money and bookkeeping?
Okay. The number one thing I tell all my clients: keep your personal and your business finances separate. It is so, so, so important. Because you know what? As women, I'm going to tell you, when the IRS starts looking, I can't, I'm not going to say that's what they're doing, but women, we get it. Like, they don't even they don't want to give us any loans. They don't do nothing with us. Okay. We have a hard time breaking that wall to get access to funding, whether it be grants or loans. I'm telling you. And what they look at is how we manage our money. And they look and see if that stuff is jumbled up. What's going on here? Are you in your business, another thing, point number two. So for personal and business finances should be separate. Number two, in your business, you need to be paying close attention to your money. Okay. It's not, let me just give it to somebody and let them just do what they do with it. No, 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 no. Don't hire me as an accountant or as a bookkeeper because you just don't want to do nothing with your finances. That's the worst thing you can ever do. Somebody can take your whole situation and shut it down. So you have to have some understanding. If you don't have an accountant that's meeting with you weekly, monthly, quarterly, and yearly to close your books to make you understand what's going on with your money, or to call you up and say, listen, you're doing a lot, you have a lot of expenses here, but I don't see your sales coming, and it looks a little uneven here, and you might be in trouble catching up next month. So somebody's going to talk to you and educate you and get your mindset under, in that mode of, yes, I can spend money here because it's going to bring me back something over here.
Return on investment.
Yeah, ROI. Don't spend money over there because that's going to lead you somewhere you don't want to be. So we need to have that conversation.
Yeah, and you bring up a really good point. And sisters, if you are hearing anything and want to make a comment, please chime in. Even though we haven't gotten to your story, please don't feel like you can't say anything. I definitely want to hear from you because this is a discussion. But you made a great point, Walida, about making sure that we're on top of it. Although we have an expert who's like yourself, who's an accountant, who's managing the books, we should be aware of what is happening in those books. And I don't know if you know, Oprah Winfrey is a billionaire. And yet they say that Oprah Winfrey signs every single check.
She does. Yep.
She signs every single check. She doesn't let someone else sign her checks for her. She signs those checks. because she wants to know where that money is going. So obviously she's doing something right because she's a billionaire. So she must be doing
Yeah.
something right as it relates to, you know, managing her money and knowing what's going out, what's coming in. So that way something can't be happening underneath her nose and she doesn't find out until it's too late, you know. So I think that's a great you know, advice tip to give for someone who's taking care of their money. And I think that's something that we just kind of figure, you know, I'll file my taxes at the end of the year and try to get as many, you know, write-offs as I can. And that's the extent of our money managing when it comes to business. And you're bringing up some really great points that we should be meeting on a weekly basis, or if not weekly, monthly, quarterly, you know, something that we should have a real relationship with our accountant or bookkeeper. So I think
Mhm.
those are some really great tools. So hold on that, because we're going to be talking some more. I would like to introduce our next speaker, and our next guest, who is just doing some phenomenal things. You know, I really wanted to bring her on the show because, as I mentioned before, this show is not just about featuring African American women who are just doing great things, but they've exceeded and have fulfilled the dream, you know, which, as we know in our history, there were so many things we were not privy to. Like you just spoke about it, Walida, going to college. That was something that at one point we were not even allowed to read. And here you are now going to college and taking that and helping other people. And so when it comes to Suleha Turner, Suleha is the, how could I say it, cosmetologist extraordinaire,
Thank
right?
you so much.
And but what I love about her is she reminds me of, you know, the late Madam C.J. Walker, who was the first, you know, to create a hair care product for women
Thank
who
you
look
so
like us.
much.
But she has taken it to another level because it's not just one product, but she is creating her own brand. And so I would love for Suleha to talk more about essential nutrients, your journey in getting to where you are now, and what made you start wanting to not only do hair, but to create hair products for women like us.
Oh, thank you so much. It was such an amazing introduction. And I'm so honored that you invited me to the show. What really made me, well, number one, I'm going to start with my whole entire background because I think it, a lot of people don't know about my story as far as, you know, not growing up as Muslim. But this is
Mm-hmm.
the whole journey with my product line and everything I have created has been a spiritual journey for me. And when I first, number one, was not born into Islam. And as a young teen, my aspirations were in the beauty industry, but I was going to be a professional model. And that was what I was going to do. My mom was a professional model, and I already knew that I was going to be in the beauty industry. And so, but Allah had other plans for me, and I ended up becoming Muslim. And so when I became Muslim, even though I had, you know, been in the beauty industry, I had been doing hair since I was 13. I had my own small salon when I was 13. My mom just bought everything for me. So at 13, I was already
Wait,
doing
stop,
hair.
stop, 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 stop. Wait a second. You already had your own shop at 13? Is that what you just
Yeah,
said?
I did. I had my own. So I used to do all my family members'
Wow.
hair, and you know, I always went to the salon. So I took all of that and brought it home. So my mom had me, I had a hooded dryer. I had curling irons. I had just everything I needed to run a salon as a teen. So I just knew that's what I was going to be doing. So fast forward, I became Muslim and I let all that go. Now I let all that go because I guess when you're on a spiritual path, you really don't know how to make that that worldly reality mix with your new spiritual reality. You know, and I was very young, so I didn't really know how to make that fit into that. So I ended up letting that go completely, and started several businesses after that. And then Allah gave it back to me. Okay. But Allah gave me this industry back in a way that I could handle. I was Muslim. I still can model, you know, with my hijab. So I kind of got some, you know, gifts back when I became Muslim. And so I had, you know, one day was driving down the street and I was like, you know, I had owned a business. I had owned a baking business. And I just really was like, I know there's something else for me. You know, it just felt like, even though I was doing that and I was successful at that, I just felt like that wasn't me or my calling. So I signed up for cosmetology school, and then it's just like things just started opening up for me. Okay, it's like I was really kind of retouching my essence all over again. And so I went to school. I worked in the daytime. I went to school at night. I worked in the salon from like 4:30 to 11 o'clock at night. I did that at 2 salons from like 2010 to 2014 continuously. I worked in the daytime at my day job, and then I worked at night as a hairstylist. Okay, because I just
Wow.
and it was just a nonstop, and I just felt like I was just reconnecting with that journey. And so now I'm back in it. And I think as an entrepreneur, the reason that you become an entrepreneur is because, or for me, is because I felt like something was missing. Okay. When my clients will come to me and they want to get and I'm servicing them, they always wanted to know, Saleha, how can I take care of my hair? I want to moisturize my hair when I leave the salon. Now, I'm very picky. And so with me being picky, I always kept telling them, you know what, I'm going to give you a call back. I'll let you know when I find something that's going to be good for you. And so I could never really find what was good. So because I couldn't really find it, I went to create it myself. And
that's
so
what I'm talking about.
so that gave me I did so much research. And I think what it was is I had to figure out, what did I want their hair to look like? What did I want them to smell? What did I want them to experience? And, how did I want them to experience my product? So it took so many years. I started formulating in 2014, and I didn't launch until 2017. And it took many, many years of, just failures in my formulation. Yeah. And so it's really amazing because, and this is like, I say this publicly because I really don't share this because I never wanted people to think that I was like so spooky or whatever. So, you just don't know what people think. So this is my first time really sharing like how
hold on.
company.
So hold on, y'all viewers, y'all getting a premiere. This is the first time she's sharing this. So y'all are getting, you know what I'm saying? Front row seats to something she's never shared before. So go ahead.
So I think, so what happened was, I always was formulating my products and, just buying different ingredients and putting things together. And I mean, I was just getting failure after failure after failure. And it's really something because every ingredient that you look on my bottle, it was not something that I was even looking at. Allah would talk to my heart and tell me what to put in it and the amount. And I would be like forced to get out of bed and put a formulation together like immediately. Like I could not stay in the bed. I had to just start pulling out bottles and boxes.
Oh, I think every entrepreneur has that, where you jump out of bed like, I gotta write this down before I forget, because I know in the morning I'm not gonna remember it. So we can relate. So go ahead.
Yeah. So, but I think what it was for me is it was a direct experience with Allah. Like I knew that Allah was talking to me through my heart because I hadn't studied that particular ingredient. So, I would be driving in the car and Allah would tell me, put this in it, put 1.5 of this, put 2.5 of that. And I'll be in Whole Foods grabbing a can of, grabbing my fruits and vegetables, and Allah would be talking to me about my formulation. So that happened to me the last, all of 2016, where I was just having this direct, hearing Allah really come in and talk to me about my products. So when I finally launched, I was putting the last lid on the last top on one of my bottles, and Allah just said to me, "This is essential nutrients." And I just
you hadn't created the name yet?
No, I'm saying I had the name, But you know how like I was doing a show, but so I was bottling everything and everybody was getting this for the first time. So once I put the last top on it, Allah was just like ensuring me that this is what I gave you. You know, this is essential nutrients. And I just felt that this is what I was supposed to be doing. So you know, that's my experience with it has been really, really more spiritual than anything, more so seeing how Allah works than anything. And you know, the first event that I did, you know, my
Was
products,
you
no
praying?
one.
Were
I'm
you
sorry.
praying? Were you praying a lot during that process of guidance and asking, like, you know, for, you know, if this is what I'm supposed to do,
I'm
you
gonna
know,
be
let me.
honest.
Mhm.
I never, in this, you know, to be honest, I never said, Allah, what am I supposed to be doing? I never really, I just was inspired to move and I moved. But then Allah took over. He was like, you got a lot of self will going on here. You forgetting that I'm
Who's
the
in charge?
one who's in charge. So
Right.
a lot of that's why a lot of things that I chose, I ended up removing those and following what Allah's telling me to do. And so when I first launched, my first day, I made like $500 my first day. And
Wow.
no one ever knew me. No one, you know, they were just seeing
Right.
me for the first time. So that was all confirmation that this is what I was supposed to be doing. So, you know, all the formulations that I have, anything that I've done, was just about really trying to help people take care of their hair and not sacrifice their health for beauty. And that really kind of is what I wanted to kind of do. But really, I wanted people to have a moment of self-care. Like having the right products in front of you and having everything you need to take care of your hair can really stop so much worry, because we put a lot into our hair. So that was really what I wanted to do. How can I stop people from worrying about their hair? How can I give them a liquid form of moisturizer and a hair dress that will take care of everything and they don't have to think about it no more? You know what I mean? Because hair care, it involves a lot and you think about it a lot, you know, and when something's not going right, you know, you're just really stressed about it. So really,
Right.
I wanted to solve that problem. I wanted people to have a really amazing product that they can use after they leave the salon. So I was really focused on people's experiences when they leave me, people's experiences when they leave the salon or any salon. How are they experiencing my products? And so because everything that was on the shelf was petroleum based, mineral oil based, I was like, you know, a lot of times people don't understand that their hair is dry because of those artificial moisturizers. Okay.
Yes.
And so they
Yes.
keep us coming back. They keep us in this, you know, just returning and buying them over and over again, because we're under the impression that eventually my hair is going to be moisturized and my hair is going to be shiny and gorgeous, exactly like I wanted, if I keep using this over and over again. So with my products, what I did was I formulated them to absorb into your hair and make your hair better over time naturally, not, you know, no gimmick, you know, no petroleum, no mineral oil, but real things that are going to
Organic.
really benefit you, you know, and really go into your hair and do what it says. So really, you know, that was my whole experience with my product line has been completely and utterly just really spiritual, and a lot just really, and I'm not saying that I'm, you know, I'm sure everybody has that, but for me it was different because Allah could have spoken to me and connected with me on anything, but this particular thing he chose to connect with me and make sure I hear him, which increased my faith, which increased my just my, you know, my awareness. And so you know, that has been my experience with my product line, and being able to help people and being a one-stop shop where they can just get everything they need. They don't have to think about
Right.
if anything's going to be good for them, because everything is good for them. And but like I said, you know, a lot of people don't know that you know, my products didn't come from because someone else did it, I'm going to do it. It was
Right.
really just my vision of what I wanted to see on the shelf wasn't there. So
Right.
because what I wanted to see on the shelf wasn't there, I went to, you know,
To
starting to
create it.
make it. Yeah. But I
So
think for
explain.
the
So explain to the viewers, what is your product line? Like, what, name some of the things that you have, that you're like, it has been very impactful to women that, like you said, most of us do. We worry about our hair. It's kind of like our little crown underneath our hijab. And for those who don't wear hijab, it's, your hair, it means a lot to women. So, just share with the viewers, like, what are some of the product lines that you have?
So right now, my main products are my liquid shimmer hair oil, which is a very light moisturizer. It's for women who wear their hair straight, who like to get their hair done at the salon. When they go home, they want to maintain their salon style. And so with this moisturizer, it gives them that sleek sheen without wearing their hair down. So they don't have to worry about not moisturizing their hair when they leave the salon and them needing more treatments or more trims, because this pretty much takes care of that. And then I have a Aloe Shine hair dress, which is a little bit heavier formulation. And that was for people who don't want their hair to be greasy, but they want to wear their hairs in braids, twists, and locks. And they don't want oil stains all over either their head covering or their hijab if they're not, their head covering if they're not Muslim, but their hijab if they're Muslim. And, so that's my Aloe Shine hair dress. And so that's really for people who wear their hair, in braids, twists, and locks, but they don't want their hair to be greasy. And then I created a follicle booster. Now, my follicle booster is scalp specific. It is not to moisturize the hair, but it's really to send blood flow to areas in your scalp that don't have blood flow.
Okay, so I want to ask you something. I didn't want to cut you off, but I really want to, because what you're talking about is science, at least what I'm hearing is scientific. So, people think that cosmetology is just, getting a hot comb and getting a flat iron and getting a blow dryer and that's it. You're on a whole nother level, Suleha. You're talking about scientific, you're talking about getting to the root of your the follicles of your hair. What was the process of you getting this information to know what would actually go straight into the bloodstream?
Well, I think so. Number one, I am a certified hair loss specialist, and I have taken many classes on hair loss. So because I've taken those classes, I have just researched those ingredients that are going to do what I needed to do. And so what I do was I gather a lot of ingredients together, which is how I work. And then by the process of elimination, I'll get a good formulation. And so my follicle booster, I just really got, by the grace of Allah, an amazing formulation. And before I released it, of course, I sent it around to everybody for them to use it and tell me, is it exactly what I had intended? And so when it's not, I go back and redo it. But luckily, when my follicle booster first came out, like I said, I strongly believe that Allah wants my product line to be here for somebody. Somebody is praying for it. Someone needs it. And because the way things just work out is just like boom, boom, boom. I don't have to, it doesn't take a lot for me to put it together. But my follicle booster is about blood flow. And as you know, if you do not have blood flow in a particular area, the area dies. So therefore, you don't get hair in that area. So with my follicle booster, it's for your scalp. And it heats up, it's very tingly, and it gives starts that blood to move on your scalp. And then into areas where you could not, that you normally didn't get flow. And then what happens is your hair, it eventually grows in. Why? Because it has heat, it has life, it has, things are moving around. So you're going to get your hair back. So that's what my follicle booster does. And that is my bestseller. It really is my absolute bestseller. So my thing is,
I need to get that.
You should. But my thing is like care, giving people things that work.
Right.
It's
and it's not just about looking cute and your hair looks cute, but you're actually talking about taking care of the hair and making sure that the hair is healthy as well. So I love it. I just want to read some comments that have been coming in through Facebook.
Sure.
And I think, Sister Lyndon Brown has been commenting on here. She's like, yes, that is wonderful. Me too. Because I just said I should get it. And she's like, me too. So she's been commenting. We have Sister Sharifa here. Obviously, she uses your products. She said awesome product that she sells.
Thank
When
you.
when Sister Walida was talking, and when you were talking, Sister Khadija Tovers wrote, "Mashallah." My father-in-law said, "Keep on with it, sisters. Good work." I love my father-in-law. And Sister Teal, which everybody knows, Sister Teal from Philly, she said, "Congratulations, and it is a blessing to you all. And keep being boss ladies, sisters supporting sisters." So that's some of the comments that we had here so far on the show. So I would like to move on to our next guest, and then we'll be able to bring it back and be able to ask questions and ask the audience to please engage in asking our guests questions or comments. But I would like to now introduce our next guest, who is an advocate on a topic that many do not talk about, and that is on the topic of child sexual abuse, especially in the Black and Brown community. It's kind of like we just sweep it under the rug, and we know that it's here. And it's not just even in the Black and Brown community. It's in a lot of in every ethnicity. This is something that is just kind of swept under the rug. Even within the Muslim community, it's swept under the prayer rug sometimes. And Sharia stepped out on talking about a topic that many just wish she would just be quiet about. And that's why I admire her so much, because it takes a lot of courage to talk about a topic like this. And as I mentioned before, on child sexual abuse. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Sharia Schultz, who is the CEO and founder of the nonprofit organization called Buddy Speaks. So welcome, Sharia.
Assalamu alaikum. Thank you again. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I have to just before I start, I love your product. I had to hide it from my family because my children, like that little small bottle with the spout, the oil, I don't remember what the name of it is, but each time I purchased it, I had to hide it because my kids loved the way it smelled. We loved the way it felt, and I love the results of it. And, I highly endorse your product for anyone that's interested in purchasing it.
Thank you.
I second that, because my daughter took all of my products, literally. My polish, my body polish that you have, I was like, okay, I had to hide it too. So totally get what you're saying.
And it smells good. Oh my goodness, yes. The scent is amazing. Okay.
Yes. So Sharia, I would love for you to tell your journey of, how we got to Buddy Speak. How did we get to Buddy Speak?
Thank you so much. So when I was 8, am I frozen?
No.
Oh, okay. So when I was 8 years old, because of what happened to me, I decided who I was and how I felt about the world around me. And I became a people pleaser, sad, depressed, scared, and ashamed. Ashamed because I experienced childhood sexual assault by way of someone that I knew and loved and trusted in my family. And I did not disclose right away. It took me a very long time to open up. And then, when I finally did open up, it didn't take away the shame and the blame. It just, I had to mask it. I had to hide it. It wasn't followed up with therapy. It wasn't followed up with comfort. Because in our community, especially when you're abused by a family member, and if it's an older teen, which was my case, it may not seem as serious. Mm-hmm. It may not seem as serious at all. So, at my young age, this is what I experienced. And I was less than 10 years of age when this happened to me. And throughout life, I just coped the best way that I could, which was going through a lot of unhealthy coping skills. And all of them caused my own self-harm. And even as being where, from you name it, I experienced it even with a suicide attempt when I was in the 10th grade, because I just wanted the pain to go away. I just did not want to feel like this anymore. I didn't like the choices that I was making as a result of my low self-esteem, as a result of my pain. So, I was raped again, and this one was a brutal rape by a date rape when I was in school. I mean, when I was a teenager. By this time, I was 18 or 19. You know, some parts of trauma you forget about. You tell some parts you don't remember. So, you know, when survivors, they disclose their abuse, you know, it may seem like they're not being honest because one minute they said one thing, one minute they say another. You know, your brain blocks out certain parts because it's so traumatic.
Yep.
So I didn't tell because I felt dirty. I felt like I was going to get in trouble. You know, I'm going to get in trouble because I wasn't supposed to go to his house, but he tricked me and said, I got to go to the bathroom. So when I got home, you know, I scrubbed my skin and I just didn't speak of it for a long time. So when I was 30 years old, I had a trigger, and that trigger brought back the memories from my childhood. And they were, you know, I was shaking and I was screaming and I was crying. And at that point I was greeted with compassion. I was greeted with love, which is what helps a child to heal
Mm-hmm.
from their abuse, the way that you greet them. And at that point I took my journey to Women Organized Against Rape, and I was able to start the healing process. But it's not linear. It doesn't, you know, it's so much work that you have to do, and it follows you through adulthood.
Oh yeah.
And I'm an educator, and I've been in a classroom with so many children. I teach special ed, and a lot of the children in special ed are misplaced because they experience the same type of trauma that I did.
Yeah.
So it looks like special needs, and no, they can't remember things because their brain blocked it out. They
Yep.
might, you know, and you know, they look like they have behavior problems because they're angry, but they're really afraid. And they may be angry because of what's happening to them. So being an educator and working overseas and then returning back home to America, you know, you come in contact with so
Mm-hmm.
many children who experience trauma. And, you know, it came one particular situation that took place with one little precious little child that, you know, is so dear to my heart. I said, I need to take what I learned in school, my own personal experience, you know, the things that I've learned through training, through research, and through everything else. And I'm going to share my story because for so long, I couldn't speak up, I couldn't say rape. I couldn't say rape
Right.
at all because when I said rape, that meant I was dirty. That meant I was nasty. That meant I did
Mm-hmm.
something wrong. So I couldn't connect the word rape to my name for
Mm-hmm.
so long. And you know, when I decided I need to help parents, I need to help parents to know and understand what sexual trauma is, to know and understand when their child is reacting a certain type of way, that they may be in trouble and it's not
Mm-hmm.
what you think. To
Right.
know and understand how to support your child who
Mm.
experienced abuse, to know
Yeah.
and understand how important it is to be patient, to know and understand what abuse is.
Mm-hmm.
Because just because you didn't penetrate me does not mean you didn't abuse me.
That's right. And I want to, the reason why I had Sharia on this show is because when me and Sharia first met, we connected, and we didn't even realize to what extent that how far the connection went. And that's because she and I share the same trauma as a child. And she's just speaking so many things that I'm just like, oh my God, yeah, it was eight. I was 8 years old, and the first time I finally spoke about it, I was 40 years old, and I finally told my father. So for 32 years I suppressed it, and almost to the point where I blocked it out. So I
Yes.
totally can understand, but my behaviors didn't block it out. So I did things that my just was not understood, and it just fueled continual devaluating of who I was, because of not understanding. So I want to bring that to when you're saying for parents who don't understand, or they're seeing certain behaviors, or they're seeing that their children are doing certain things or saying certain things, you did something which, kind of brought to light what Buddy Speaks is. And I want you to talk about your book and how you're actually doing the work of educating parents as well as children to learn how to prevent it. Because my goodness, I wish I had Buddy Speaks when I was 8 years old.
Me too.
So,
Thank you.
what did you create to say, look, this has to stop? Whether we want to talk about it or not, it's happening. What did you do to educate, and what this whole show is about, which is educating and empowering? How did you do that?
Well, what I did first was I started sharing my story. I removed that shame and I began to share my story so that people can know and understand that I can relate, so that people can know and understand that, you know, that's that's on him, not
Right,
on
that's
me.
their shame. That's right.
That's
That's their
their
shame.
shame, not my shame. And
Hmm.
to let other people who are experiencing the trauma to know that you're not alone and there's someone else out here that can connect with you. And then I wrote two books actually, but I only published one. And the first book that I wrote was bringing awareness about sexual assault by way of a boy. And then I said, well, wait a minute. The more I shared, I said, I need to teach parents. I need to teach parents first how to protect their children. Yes, it's important. Education and awareness helps prevent and end childhood sexual assault. However, parents need to know and understand how to have these conversations. And so many
Right.
parents, they didn't want to have them at all. I don't want to talk about it. I even had someone say to me just recently, I didn't want to hear this. I was
Hmm.
getting ready to get off of the interview listening to you because
Hmm.
it just makes me so angry that someone
Hmm.
could do this to a child. And I
Right.
explained to them that's exactly what abusers want us to do. They want you
Right.
to not listen. They want you to not talk about it. So I
Right.
wrote a book, and I wanted the book had to have awesome illustrations. They had to be the characters in the book, they had to be cute. It had to be something they could relate to. And I wrote it by way of a story so that when parents are having these conversations and teaching the children body safety education, that it could be easy to talk about because it's not an easy subject.
Right.
However, we got to sit in our discomfort so that our children don't have to live a life of being uncomfortable. And I wrote the book,
Powerful.
and it's called My Voice is My Superpower. And it's encouraging children, it's helping parents to teach. It's helping, yay! It's helping parents to teach their children the body safety rules. But what I did was I made it where the child was taught by his mother and he's teaching other people, and he taught his cousins, because what happens a lot of times, children will tell other children something happened
Right.
before they even tell the adult. So what Buddy is doing is he's teaching his cousins, he's teaching the world, because his mother said, okay, before you go to the sleepover, let's go over the body safety rules. So he's
Right.
teaching all the children the body safety rules, and his mother's like, yay, good job, let's go get water ice. And then his cousin discloses the abuse, and she doesn't know what to call it because she's just a little girl. And
Hmm.
Buddy's like, wait a minute, because mom taught me these body safety rules, and mom taught me this isn't supposed to happen. And then my little cousin told me, now let's go tell your mom together. So it
Right.
models what children should do if someone discloses. It models to parents what they should do if your child does disclose. And in the back of the book is a discussion guide. So it breaks down page by page by page,
I
helping
love it.
parents to know what to do, how to use the book. You can read it from cover to cover, or you can do page by page. And it's a teaching tool. So it's not, and it's not, and it's a beautiful book, and it's not scary.
Right.
And, that's what I did. I wrote this book with the intent of educating
Educate.
and empowering.
So you took
So
your educational background as, working with special needs children. and just being an educator and use those skills. And that's why I love you with each and every one of you, because you took the talents and skills that Allah gave you and said, look, I'm going to do something for good. So you took your educational background and applied it to this book and making it an educational guide, not only for parents, but for teachers too.
Right.
Teachers, preschool teachers, so they can see the signs and understand, like, look, this may be a child who's being, abused or being touched inappropriately. I love it.
Thank you. And in addition, when I have my workshops, I use my pedagogy. I use my teaching skills so I can teach the children that are in kindergarten up until 12th grade and adults, because I've been teaching since, about to tell my age, 1995. So
that's all right, girl. That's okay.
So that helps me to, whereas I'm not just learning this information, but I am an instructor. And the goal is for Buddy Speaks to go into the classrooms once we open back up the school. That's what we're going to be launching, going into the schools and, creating workshops for parents once again. And we have a special thing coming for the parent that coming up that we're going to launch in April. So I'm so excited about that.
Excited. I'm so excited about that. And we're going to talk more, because we got some comments on here like, I need the link. I need to find this person. I need to, do this and that. So I'm going to allow each of you, before we get off, I definitely want everyone to know where they can find you, where they can reach out to you, because if they're dealing with this, or they may suspect something like that, where can they find you? And Buddy Speaks, where can they find you, Suleha, to help them with, maybe some hair care issues? Do you deal with women who deal with alopecia as well?
Yeah, I do actually. And I have clients who have alopecia. And so if you want, you can reach out to me. But I want to say this about alopecia, and I want to say this about hair loss in general. Patience is what you need when you're experiencing hair loss. And a lot of people just think it's going to be an overnight miracle. You have to allow me to, take care of you and be patient with the process. And so if you are experiencing alopecia, the one thing that you want to just keep in mind is the patience, and you're going on a journey, and it doesn't happen overnight. And if you could stick around, you'll kind of, get some results. And if it's something that, I cannot handle, I usually tell them you need a medical professional.
Right.
This is something that is beyond my,
capacity.
my skill set. You need a medical profession, or, a professional to help you. And so I will keep that in mind about alopecia and about, hair loss in general. But if you want to find me, my website.
Well, we're going to do that. We're going to do that towards the end. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're definitely. I'm going to make sure before we I want to make sure everyone knows where they can find you on your social media handles, your website. If you want to provide your email addresses, I want everyone to know where they can find you, because I know, I'm just reading the comments, and I know that there are people here that are taking from each and every one of you. Those that in business, don't have someone running those numbers for them. They're not meeting, or they have an accountant who they haven't met with in years. Maybe they need to get Walida. So we definitely want to make sure that our viewers are able to connect with each and every one of you. So we have, last but definitely not least, we have Dr. Did y'all hear me say that? I said Dr. Khadija Ismail, who is a dentist, as well as the founder of Miss Hijabi USA and co-founder of Women of Wellness of New Jersey. So welcome, Dr. Khadija.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for having me. Very honored and humbled to be here.
Thank you so much. I thought about that. I remember when I first met Khadija, when I first met you, I said, she's a dentist. Like, I've never met, and I'm being completely honest, I've never met a dentist who was African American, a woman, and then now I'm Muslim, and I'm like, and she's Muslim. I'm like, wait a minute. So I really thought, when we were talking about African American women who are fulfilling the dream, I'm like, oh, I have to have Dr. Khadija on the show. So I would love for you to tell your story, your journey. What made you choose dentistry as your way of profession? And I want you to share the importance with our community as to why dentistry is so important, and when you don't take care of it, what the effects of it, because we think it's just your teeth. And I mean, that's big enough, but It's not just your teeth. What else is affected by not taking care of your teeth? So first start with your journey, Dr. Khadija.
Okay, alhamdulillah. Well, when we say I am the fulfillment of the dream, I really truly am. Alhamdulillah. My grandparents, my grandmother, my mom's mom was a sharecropper. And I was
Mm,
very close with her. She's no longer with us now, but I was very, very close with her. And she's told me many, many of her stories, her childhood stories growing up. She was a sharecropper down
so who
south.
was a sharecropper? What
My
sharecropper was
my grandmother, my mother's mother,
your
was a
grandmother?
sharecropper. Yes, she was a sharecropper down south. And at 7 years old, she would pick cotton. She would pick cotton because she had to help support the family. So she
Mm,
would have to pick cotton. The schoolhouse there in Georgia was from kindergarten to 12th grade, one room, okay, of all of the students in the town, because of course during that time of segregation, the
right.
education was horrible. the
Yes.
you know, it was segregation and poverty combined. So
So you can imagine the caliber of education that was coming from the wow.
right, so my grandmother actually, they ended up coming up to the north in the Great Migration, coming up to a better life. So they thought they were coming to a better life. They get here to the north, and my grandmother only completed the 8th or 9th grade. So
Mm,
my grandmother's goal for my mother, her daughter, was just, I want you to grow up and finish high school. You
mm,
know, this was my grandmother's dream for my mother, to finish high school. That was like a big, big thing. So
right.
my mom, she you know, she grows up, she finishes high school, and her goal for her daughters were, I want my daughters and I want my children to finish college, just get a bachelor's degree. My mother wanted to become a nurse, but she had gotten married, had my brother, had me, and that never manifested. So she wanted her children to just
To
finish
do better.
college, just get that piece of
Hmm.
paper. So, and of course, God willing, you know, all praises to Allah. We, me and my sister were both able to go well beyond the bachelor's degree. So that's just a little bit of the past. Now on my journey, I've always loved school, always loved science. My father actually instilled in me from young to be the best you can be. I want you to be a doctor. So the only thing I knew was medicine. I don't know. I'm going into medicine. And that's how he said, he learned like this is, you gear your children to what you want them to be. If you want them to be a chef, if
Mm.
you want them to be a nurse, if you want them to be a lawyer, address them that way and teach them the mindset.
Oh, I love
No,
that.
you're going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a teacher, and train them, gear them in that way. So growing up, I always knew I wanted to become a doctor. Um, Journey, it's a
So
funny one. I'm gonna,
how did you go into dentistry as your,
okay,
medical profession? Yeah, because
yes,
dentistry, usually when you hear a doctor, you're like, oh, I'm a gynecologist, I'm a
yes,
surgeon, I'm
yes,
a, whatever. And you chose dentistry, which is something I think
yes.
all of us, if just by a show of hands, sisters, how many of you knew an African American dentist? See? Well, go
Yeah,
ahead, girl, tell
it's
your
amazing.
story.
Well, you know,
How?
the funny thing about it, the funny thing about it, I was on my journey, and I knew that I wanted to one day be an amazing wife, an amazing mother, and I knew that my root would be the family. So I wanted my profession to be just something that I did, but not my foundation. I wanted my foundation to be the home, to be,
Mhm.
you know, my husband, my children, the family unit. So
Right.
I, on my journey in college, I met an African American dentist. She had come as a guest speaker, And I was
Wow.
a freshman in college, and she stated, any of you, because I was in a Students for Medicine and Dentistry program in my first year in college. It was a program that they were gearing and training African Americans and Latinos, minority groups that wanted to go into medicine. They were trying to get them to, if you wanted to go into medicine, to have mentors, to have people who could direct your way. Well, it was always in the back of my mind, I want to become a doctor, yes, but I also want a family. I also want a life. I don't want to say it like that, but I also want the family to be the unit. So I met the first year, an African American, beautiful dentist. She came and she said, she gave a tour, she gave a talk about the profession of dentistry. And then she said, listen, for a lot of you, if you want to make a lot of money and if you want to have a family life, hey, I have 5 children. This is what she said. I have 5 children and I've never missed any of their games. Then come into dentistry. So it's funny because I was
That
the only
spoke right to
one.
you.
I was the only one who joined her and said, I want to learn more about dentistry. So I did an internship. I did an internship in the summer, and every summer after that, I went and did internships with her and with the group. And I was like, you know what? I had already had the qualifications. I was originally, I was going to be an OBGYN. So when I looked into the qualifications, I already met everything. So I was like, well, you know what? Let me sit for the test. And I sat for the test and did very well. And I was like, okay, you know what? This is for me. And of course, I love teeth.
Right. And by the way, you have beautiful teeth, which is great. It's almost like when you see that cosmetologist whose hair ain't done, or the dentist whose teeth are messed up, right? But neither one of you fit that. So yeah, I get it.
Yep. So as far as oral health is concerned, so oral health, like you said before, it's not just teeth. Of course, it's the teeth, it's the gums, it's the tongue, and all of the structures in the mouth. And of course, the mouth is the entryway to the entire body. So if you have an infection in the mouth, you risk the infection spreading to many different places in the body. So there are a couple things. A couple things I would like to mention. Oral diseases in the mouth can increase the risk of heart disease.
Yes.
It can increase the risk of a heart disease, and it can diminish dementia. And like if you have dementia, it decreases the production of brain cells in dementia. So it worsens dementia. Another thing in pregnancy, like if you have bad oral health in pregnancy, it can be transmitted. The disease, the infection can transmit to the unborn child.
Really?
Yes.
Me and Walida had the same reaction, like, what?
Yes.
I did not know that.
Yes. There are a couple other things too. One of them I'll save for last. But bad oral health, infections in the mouth can worsen diabetes. If you have diabetes, it can worsen if you have bad oral health.
Wow.
Respiratory infections, the same thing. It can worsen. One of the last things is erectile dysfunction, and many people don't know that. Bad oral hygiene and bad oral health with infections can cause erectile dysfunction.
Are you
And many people
serious?
don't know that. Yes.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
one of them. I mean, you hear about diabetes, taking certain diabetic medication can cause erectile dysfunction, things like that. Like I've heard of that, but I never knew that poor oral hygiene can cause erectile dysfunction. This
Right.
is, I mean, so with that information, how often would you suggest someone going to the dentist? And look, we just got a comment from Sister Shaw. She said, "Wow, we have to get our oral health in order, inshallah." This is what this show is about. This is exactly why we have this show, is to educate and empower. So, with that being said, what would you recommend as far as how often children should go to a dentist? How young should they start going to a dentist? And as an adult, how often should we go? And if you've already started to have poor oral health, what is your suggestion?
Okay, so a couple things. Let me go back. So bad oral hygiene can cause dental infections, which can cause erectile dysfunction. So I don't want anybody to think, okay, bad oral hygiene means erectile dysfunction. The bad oral hygiene can cause dental infections, abscesses, which can cause erectile dysfunction.
Right.
Yeah. So we actually begin to see patients at 6 months old. 6 months. The first 6 months old. And that visit is for the parent. The parent. That visit is for the parent or for the caretaker of the child. So because that's an informational visit in which you teach the guardian or the parent or caretaker of the child how to brush the teeth, how to take care of the teeth. Oftentimes parents oftentimes don't even know that you should brush the primary teeth. I've had many parents say, "Oh, I didn't know I had to brush those baby teeth. Like, they're gonna fall out. I didn't even know I had to brush them. My child doesn't like getting their teeth brushed."
Now, I did know that. But this is not to make anyone feel bad, but this just goes to show we really need to be educated on this. Wow.
Yes. So, and then after that, then it's every 6 months for the child. Every 6 months. And every 6 months for the child, because you want to make sure they're not getting cavities. You want to make sure the teeth are growing in properly. You want to make sure that the secondary teeth are there, because sometimes children are born, they have their primary teeth, but they don't have secondary teeth.
Okay, see, I didn't know that either.
They're right. So you want to make sure that they're there, because if they're not, that can be indicative of other diseases. So yes, so you want to make sure that they're there.
So even as an adult, then, Dr. Khadija, what you're saying is from the time they start going to the dentist, then it should be a practice of going every 6 months all the way up until adulthood.
Yes, you should go to the dentist every 6 months to get your teeth cleaned and to get a dental checkup. Every 6 months, you should go to the dentist for that. Yes.
So for our viewers, for those that may not have been, practicing that, what would, and say they do decide, okay, Dr. Khadija said I need to do this, and these are some of the effects that can happen from that. Say they go to a dentist and find out that they do have some, an infection or there's some oral hygiene issues. What would you what is the recommendation once you find out, okay, I didn't take care of my teeth, now I have some issues? What would you say to that?
Well, most of the time, if you're coming, you can always have a brand new ending. Like, I have many patients who come and they say, I haven't been to the dentist in 2 years. I haven't been to the dentist in 5 years, or even 10 years. We're going to start from here and we're going to have a brand new ending. We're going to fix what can be fixed, and we want to make sure we have habits to keep our remaining teeth healthy and in a good
condition.
Right. And oral health. Correct.
Wow.
So there can be many problems in the mouth as well. There can be oral cancer, and oral cancer actually is one of the most common cancers in Americans.
Right. Wow. Cancer. So there's oral cancer?
Yes, oral cancer. Yes. Oral cancer. You can have cancer of your tongue. You can have cancer of your lips. Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anyone else here, sisters, that are floored about what Dr. Khadija is saying? You're saying that you can get cancer of the lips, cancer of the tongue.
Yeah.
What else, as far as oral health, what else could you get cancer from if you're not taking care of that?
You can get cancer Anywhere. You can get
Your
cancer of
gums?
the palate. Yes, you can get cancer of the palate. Yes, you can have cysts.
Oh my
You can get
goodness.
cysts. You can have tumors. Tumors under the floor, like in the floor of your mouth. You can have. There's so many diseases and so many lesions and ailments that you can have in your mouth. Correct.
So what's a practice then? Obviously going to the dentist, every 6 months, that's not the only time you want to take care of your teeth. So from what I'm hearing, that's something that needs to be done on an everyday basis. So what do you recommend for someone who is looking to like, I want to start taking care of my teeth. I'm learning things I never knew before, and I want to prevent these things. What is the daily uh, dental care that you would recommend for the viewers?
Okay. Number one, go to your dentist. That's the first and foremost thing you need to do. You need to go to your dentist because the first checkup is a complete checkup where your dentist is not just checking only your teeth. They're giving you a comprehensive exam where they're examining your teeth and all of the structures of your mouth. So, and of course, we rule out cancer. So that's number one. After that, then of course you can, if you need a cleaning or whatever problems that you're having, if you need restorations or whatever you need. After that, it would be you have to floss, of course, and that's another thing I would like to address. You should be brushing twice a day, but you have to floss. You have to
Also
floss.
flossing,
You
flossing.
have to
Now,
floss.
Now, I've had issues with flossing because I have what they call extra teeth in the back of my, so it makes my teeth extremely tight. So it's
Okay.
hard to get the floss in there. So do you just recommend they pull those extra teeth out?
I would need to examine you first and see, because yes, I would need to examine because it may be that keeping the teeth, that pulling out the teeth, if your teeth may be close to a nerve, that's it's not worth the risk
Mm.
of having you having you paralyzed. Like
Oh yeah,
I would need
yeah,
to evaluate the whole.
the whole thing.
Right. Correct.
Wow. So flossing, seeing a dentist every 6 months. What else would you recommend as far as daily health care for the mouth?
Yes, rinsing, even rinsing with an antibacterial mouthwash.
Hmm. How many times a day? Should it just be in the morning and at night, or it's just throughout the day?
So you should brush twice a day. You should floss. I floss twice a day as well. I floss
Hmm.
twice a day. But yes, mouthwash you can rinse twice a day as well.
Hmm.
An antibacterial mouthwash.
So, did you recommend making sure that you brush your teeth at night before you go to bed every night? Is that something that is like you recommend, or that's just what
Okay.
every parent says?
Okay, so you should brush before you go to sleep at night.
Hmm.
And according to the textbooks, after you eat breakfast in the morning, because after you, like, if you brush your teeth at night, floss, everything is clean.
Hmm.
Then you get up, you can rinse, and then you can eat. After you eat, the food now you've eaten. You
Right.
should brush after you eat breakfast.
Hmm.
So that's according to the textbook of
Wow.
food. Yes.
So, as you can see, ladies, I mean, we're just scratching the surface of so many things that we're learning about: hair loss, hair care, financial literacy, advocacy, and talking with your children. And even if, we have some grandparents that are raising their grandchildren, that this is a conversation that you need to have. We're talking about, your health. We have one comment here from, Sister Lyndon Brown. She says, I need to come see you, talking about Dr. Khadijah. She says, I'm scared. She says, I don't trust my dentist now. So obviously the information that you're disseminating right now is something that even her dentist has not shared with her. And this may be something that is not being shared just from a lot of dentists. They may be just there to clean their teeth, take their x-rays, and that's it, and not really being educational as you are. So at this point, I would love for each of you to share where they can locate you, where they can contact you, and where they can find you. Because there's something else that I want to talk about with Dr. Khadijah that we haven't. But at this point, I just want to round about, because we've been here now for an hour. Walida, where can they find you? Where can they find you?
You can find me in New Jersey now. Yes. Also, okay, so there are a couple places you can find me. Butterfly Money is actually one of my. Actually a new tax and accounting firm. So I am online right now, and you can find me on Instagram at B Fly Money. That's just the letter B. Fly as a fly. Money. That's
Mm-hmm.
at Instagram. And then you can also find me at the Boss Moms Coach. It's a brand that I have where I coach boss moms. So I'm also on Instagram. A lot of people know me from the Boss Moms Coach.
Mm-hmm.
And email info at butterfly money, spell it all out, butterflymoney.com. I'm open to me. I give my phone number out because listen, that's how you're gonna reach me. Okay, text me whatever 862-452-1252. Write it down 862-452-1252.
Great. Thank you so much. And now, Suleha, if someone is looking to get health care, like their hair is damaged or they're going to a cosmetologist that may not really focus on hair care, where can they find you, even if they may not live in the same state and need to get hair care products? How can they find you? You have to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. Okay, yes. So you guys can find me on Instagram at Essential Nutrients. And so it's spelled a little different. So it's Essential, ESSENTIAL, and then Nutrients is with a Z at the end. So it's NUTRIENTZ and then underscore HC. So underscore hair care. So that is on Instagram. You can also find me on Facebook at just Essential and then Nutrients. If you want to shop for products and you don't want to go to my website, I do have a Facebook store. However, everything that I offer is not on Facebook. So if you see some things, if you want to visit my website for additional products and accessories, you can go to www.essentialnutrients.com. And also I do have a 1-800 number you can call for customer service. It's 800-786-4110. And so, yeah, so everything is on my website. That's my Instagram handle, my Facebook handle. So please reach out to me, ask me any questions that you need. We can always set up a consultation, and looking forward to meeting everybody.
Wonderful, wonderful. And now back to Sharia, who's the CEO of Buddy Speaks and an advocate for child sexual abuse. How can they find you and how can they get your book?
Okay, so you can find me on Facebook for my name, Sharia Schultz, or Buddy Speaks. I have two, either through Sharia Schultz, SHARIEA, SHOATZ, and also with Buddy Speaks. That's on Facebook. On Instagram, the same, but it's Buddy and then underscore and then Speaks. You can also visit my website, www.buddyspeaks.org. That's where you can order the book as well. You can also find me on LinkedIn with Sharia Schultz. So all of those networks, you're bound to find me. And what else can I say? So we have LinkedIn. Oh, and on TikTok. You can find me on TikTok too.
Oh, yes. This is becoming Sharia. If you start following Sharia, and anyone who's already following Sharia knows
watching me do my jab, my two-step.
Sharia has become the TikTok queen lately. So wonderful, wonderful.
I cannot dance, but I'm dancing so that I can.
You can reach those young kids and say, "Hey, I can relate."
People.
That's right. That's right.
So that's how you can find me.
Wonderful. And Dr. Khadijah, where can they find you as far as, if they're looking for dentistry or a new dentist or something like that? And then I want to talk about your nonprofit because you are a co-founder of two. So, I would love for you to talk about where they can find you first as far as your dentist office, and then talk a little bit about your nonprofit organizations and how they can find you.
Okay, yes. So I am located in Trenton at Henry J. Austin Health Center. So I can be reached there in Trenton. So Henry J. Austin Health Center in Trenton, New Jersey.
In Trenton, New Jersey. Is there an office number that maybe they can call if they want to set up an appointment or anything like that?
Yes. 609-278-6035.
So you know she doesn't call out sick much because she's like, "What's that job number?" So that's great. So tell them you are also the co-founder of Miss Hijabi USA and something that's big that's happening right now, which really is aligned with the work that you do in the dentistry field, which is Women of Wellness of New Jersey. So please tell the viewers about that and what's happening right now with Women of Wellness.
Yes, so I am the founder and president of Women of Wellness of New Jersey, and it's the home of the Miss Glitz, Glamour, and Brains USA in STEM pageant. And actually, my story, it was the impetus for me to start this organization. I wanted to increase the number of minority women in STEM, women in STEM who would go on to eventually become healthcare professionals, scientists, innovators, and leaders, future leaders, who will lead us. Yeah, the pageant is coming up in June, and the kickoff was yesterday, and we have kicked it off, and we teach surgical techniques. We teach a lot of different sciences. We train them, and they compete in the beauty of the mind.
So
Truly,
talk
the
about
beauty
some
of
of
the
the,
mind.
so talk about some of the things, because even cosmetology is part of it because of the hair care aspect of it. So in STEM, what are some categories that you can participate if they have a daughter that wants to participate in a pageant for STEM, really focusing more on the mind? What categories actually fall into STEM that many people are not aware of? And one of our viewers said, what are the ages?
Okay, so the ages are 7 to 18. 7 to 18. But one of the things about STEM, science, technology, engineering, math, and medicine, we take anything, any field, or any of their hobbies, or anything that they like. Science is in everything. So something as simple as hair braiding, that's geometry, right?
Look at Suleiha's like,
Yes, basketball. The angles, the velocity, this is all math and science. So anything that you do, I know last year the first runner-up did STEM and hip hop. Amazing. STEM and hip
that's
hop
right.
is music, right? So in music, you have the hormones, you have the technology with the microphone, you have all of these, the science, the technology, the engineering, the math, all of it coming together, producing harmonious music, or whatever they want to do. So we take whatever they love, and because that's the beauty of it. This is fun, this is innovative, it's exciting, something that they love, and break it down to the simple components, bringing it back to science. And once they realize that, they're like, wow, I wish now, I'm going to pay attention more in science. Science is not that hard. It's not that, no, it isn't.
Wow.
So
This is awesome. Like I'm listening to all of you, and again, I mean, every time I do a show, I always walk away with just information, more information that's right here in our community. And that's really what I want our viewers to know, is that we don't have to go outside our community. It's really here. It's right here, as far as hair care, bookkeeping, finance, STEM, science, dentistry, advocacy, community work, social enterprising. We have it all right here in our community. So we don't have to step out, and we have it right here. So as it relates, as we're getting ready to close, because we've been on for an hour and a half, but and we've shared with everyone how they can find you. I'm going to ask each and every one of you a question that's based on the theme of this show, and that's honoring Black History Month, the African American women who have fulfilled the dream. So as you're looking at your own journey and sharing your journey with the viewers, how do you feel about being a fulfillment of the dream, whether it's directly with someone in your family or just as a community and as a culture, being able to say, I have fulfilled a dream that maybe once, just 2 generations ago, we just didn't even have the option of being able to do this. How do you feel now as you're in this moment being honored as one of the African American women who have fulfilled the dream, and hearing all of your accomplishments. How does that feel to you personally? So we'll start with Walida.
Thank you so much for even having me on this show. And I just, it's weird you just said that, and like it didn't even hit me until you just said it. Actually, that fulfilling the dream, like I just feel like like there was a responsibility that I had. I feel like it was more responsibility as a young Black woman, coming up, where a mother too, just being a mother,
Mm-hmm.
and not holding back, I guess to say, as the more that you're learning and the more that you can acquire as far as knowledge, but applying it to help more than just yourself and your family. Like that was a duty. I feel like it was such a duty on me to yeah, it's my dream to fulfill, but I feel like it's the dream of our people as a whole, that we step into our greatness and that we have that duty to do that and to spread that same message to generations coming behind us. So that's my take on it.
Wonderful, thank you. And Suleha, how does that resonate with you?
You when you talk, it just start hitting all these emotional buttons. You don't. It's just, took it so deep, but it really makes me happy that I could take something that was only from my imagination and give it to someone else. And so to be able to do that, I really feel fortunate, and it makes me want to be more of a leader, and I feel empowered, and I feel it makes me feel empowered that I'm able to have something, a service, or a product or something to offer someone that's healthy. And so when I think about what they couldn't do, and now what I can do, it makes me feel really like a leader, and really just empowered, and it makes me want to do things just really good and represent in a really good way.
Yeah, so when we say representation matters, it just took it to another level just now for you.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
wonderful, beautiful. So Sharia, our advocate here, for a topic that many do not want to talk about, and you're saying, no, we're going to bring voice to it, and being a voice for those that for years may have never spoken about it, and being the fulfillment of the dream. How does that resonate for you?
It makes me feel like I was the child who lived in survival mode for so many years.
Mm.
And now I am the adult who's being empowered and empowering others, and being the voice and being the comfort and the safe space to help parents and other children to cope and to be protected, and to remove the taboo and the stigma, and to make it comfortable in our community, even through my non-dancing self.
Right, right.
To
Oh,
make a change, and to be that one, to be that person, to be that. And it's not just for me, it's for all of the children. It's a hard job. I'm
yeah.
not going to sit here and pretend that it is. It's heavy,
Hmm.
but it's a blessing, and it's an honor to be able to do it, and to
Yeah.
go from being a victim to a survivor, to say I'm thriving and I'm empowering others.
And I'm
And
an
I'm
overcomer.
humbled,
Ooh.
and I'm grateful, and I'm here. I'm here to service our community.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful. I
Thank
love
you.
it. And last but not least, we have Dr. Khadija, being I mean, literally, you started it off with being the fulfillment of the dream, even within your own lineage, just from your grandmother, just two generations earlier, not even being able to go to high school, not even finishing, high school, to your mother then, finishing high school, and then now you and your sister taking it to the next level of college. But as a community, as a culture, as a whole, as women, um, being the fulfillment of the dream, how does that resonate with you?
To whom much is given, much is required, and upon me is to serve. Upon me is to serve.
Mm.
And I want to just do so in an honorable and dignified manner. And I want all of my actions and all of my service to be of benefit to me on the last day.
The day that matters the most. I get it. Yep. Yep.
Exactly.
That it's just so beautiful. And I just, this is kind of like an open space in closing, for the young girls that might be listening, that are dreaming right now, and have these, going to sleep at night writing in their little journals of what they want to be when they grow older, and not too sure, maybe my parents don't have the money, maybe I don't, maybe this is not something that I can do. Am I qualified to do it? Am I smart enough to do it? Whatever their insecurities and doubts may be, for the mother who's at home that, is thinking, should I wait for my kids to graduate? Should I not? Well, I raised my kids, but that dream is over. What do you have to say to that? And anybody can start. What would be your final thoughts for that person or that young girl?
I have three things to say. Well, I'll say the first two is start where you are. Start right where you are, because it's never too late. Never too late. When I was graduating, there were women in that going across that stage. We're not the stage, but they were, 61, 70. Really, like for real.
Wow.
They was getting it. And I was like, I'm over here, my little 40-something-year-old self. No, they was getting it. And they was standing strong, so it's never too late.
Awesome.
Start right where you are. If not now, then when? If
Right.
not now, then when? These are the things I want you to think about. And the other one is stop counting yourself out of things when you say like, oh, why me? That's not for me. No, why not you? Why not you?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's the things that I always tell everybody. Those three things. Start where you are. If not now, then when? And why not you?
Mm-hmm.
Why
Great.
not you?
Love it. Love it. Thank you, Walida. Anyone else have a final comment for that young girl who's dreaming and wanting to, one day we're going to pass the baton on, the work that we're doing. So the next generation, like what's your final thoughts for them, and for someone who's thinking like my time has passed?
My thoughts would be, my advice would be, focus on what you want and don't let others discourage you. So my first thing is, don't let others discourage you. If it's something that's coming to your heart that you want to do, pursue it and put your whole being into it. And then also to love what you do. Don't do things just because other people want you to do it. Do it because you have a genuine passion to pursue it, because those are the things that last. And then my other piece of advice would be, surround yourself with people who want to see you succeed. Even if it's not a physical community, maybe it's a virtual community, meaning this it could be the people that you follow on Instagram, it could be the people that you follow on YouTube, it could be people who just are very positive and are within the realm of what you want to do. Stick in those circles, and it's not always in this physical world, but sometimes it's in your virtual family.
Right.
So that's three pieces of advice that I could give.
Great. Wonderful. Sharia or Dr. Khadijah, any final thoughts for, the young girl who's dreaming, and for the one that feels like, my dream is past, I'm too old, or, I'm just, my time is gone.
I would say take the first step. Oftentimes we can get in a rut, we can be in a place of a lot of negativity. Take the first step. Whatever field you want to go into, reach out to somebody and who's doing what you want to do, because
Mhm.
that can be the first step, that can be the helping hand. You never know where the help or where the encouragement will come from. So take the first step, reach out to someone in that field that you would like to go into. Maybe they can help you or advise you or direct you to where you need to be.
Right. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful. And last but not least, Sharia, any final comment?
I would, I loved poetry growing up, and I remember Langston Hughes, he had a poem, and I said, what happened to a dream deferred?
Mm,
Don't defer your dreams. And if they are deferred, it is your journey, it is your dream, it is your passion, and it is your abilities that's going to get you through. Whether you're 8 or 80, it's not too late as long as you have your breath in your body.
that's right.
As Khadija said, connect with those that you're able to align with, to learn with, and don't compare yourself to others' journeys,
That's
because
right.
everyone has their own
Different.
journey.
Right.
Allah wrote for how it's going to be and when it's going to take place, and don't give up on yourself. Whether you're 40, whether you're 50, whether you're 23 like me, you're like that, right? It doesn't matter, but you're not alone and you have people to support you.
That is wonderful. Thank you, ladies, for those gems that you dropped tonight, the knowledge, the education on all levels, as far as healthcare, as far as, get your money. And when you get your money, make sure you got your books together. We don't, the IRS is 3 letters I don't want to have nothing to do with. So, get your money right, especially if you're going into business and you're wanting to, make sure sometimes we just get into the glitz and glamour of posting what we're doing and we're all about our business, but our finances is all in shambles.
Wow.
It's going to be short lived. So we got to make sure that we're literally crossing all our T's and dotting all our I's as it relates to our money, and making sure our money is right. Get your oral health right, because it's not just your teeth that are affected, but it could be the rest of your body in places that you could have never imagined. And the advocacy work, just with Sharia saying, look, be the voice, be the change that you want to see, and speak. Even if no one else is talking about it, be the first person to talk about it and bring awareness to something that needs to change. So many people are affected, when we stay in silence. And I always say trauma continues in secrecy. So thank you so much, ladies, for all of the work. I just want to leave some of the last comments that are on here. Cherie said, great show. Sister Stacia said, I love that one, talking about surround yourself with people who want to see you succeed. So this was a great show. Sisters, you have really embodied the meaning of women who have fulfilled the dream. Continue to do the work that you're doing. These women are reachable. You can contact them. They're doing community work. They're in the community, whether it be, even if you're not in the same state, you can reach out to them. They're on Instagram, on all of the social media handles. So reach out to them if you're in need of any of their services, because they are ready to work and lend a helping hand. So that concludes our episode of honoring Black History Month, the African American women who have fulfilled the dream. Women, thank you for pouring into me. I learned so much tonight
You're
about,
welcome. Thank you for having me.
Can I say
thank you.
one thing? Oh,
Sure, sure, go ahead.
I wanted to say this to everybody who's listening in and all of us here. Like, listen, do not let this Black History Month. This is my own opinion now. This is all in my own head. This Black History Month thing. Let me tell you something. February is the shortest month of the whole entire year, and we notice it every time we come around to this time. We cram everything in. I just want to say, we gotta learn to start canceling Black History Month, and we gotta learn to adapt to this as an everyday thing, because we're making history right here. So that means it's
Absolutely.
going on every day, every month of the year that we are making this history. We are part of history, and I think it's the talk. It's the speech has to change. The narrative has to change. That we are here. We ain't going nowhere, and we're
That
making our
will,
stand. And this is
that will.
all year round. So
Yeah,
I
and
think
that's
this should be like every month some Black history situation
well,
going down, just like this.
conversations with Asiya is here every month, and so we definitely, and I'm always highlighting and the empowerment of women, even our young girls. And so, I just wanted to highlight you women as being this. This is just as an inspiration for us to continue to do this and continue to, to be the role model, the change agent for others to be able to be motivated. Some of us are in so many different spaces right now, and this is just a beautiful time to celebrate. We have progressed, and there's still more work to do. So that's an everyday, as Walida said, it's an everyday thing that we need to continue doing. So for all of our viewers who continue to watch and tune in to Conversations with Asiya, thank you so much for following us. We do not only go live on Facebook on our Jessica Cares page and my personal page, but we're also live on YouTube. So subscribe. You'll get notifications every time we have a new topic and a new episode that is coming under Asiya Nasir Shahid. And if you know of a woman or a young lady who is doing some amazing work in the community and you think that they would be a great guest for our show, please reach out to me at jessica@jessicacares.org and let me know who they are so we can get them on the show to continue to empower and educate the women of our community and the girls that they are raising. Thank you for tuning in tonight. And for our brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Good night, everybody.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.